Okay, so you want to make a quiz in blended schools. Here's what we need to do. First off, let's get to the folder in which you would like to place this quiz. So for me, I'll click on folder 3B, Manifest Destiny. From here, you're going to go up to Create Assessment and Test. Now once you click on it, it's going to take you into a menu here, and it's going to show you either add a test, and this will be a test that you've already created. You probably won't have any of these. I have these because I made them, but then I don't have them put out onto my website anywhere. So what you're going to want to click on is Create. Now after you click on Create, you can do a lot of different things. Now we can change the name of the test, and yours is going to end up being blank, so we'll call mine Sample Quiz. You can give a description and you can give instructions if you would like. I don't really see much of a need for doing that. It's more for yourself, and the instructions will show up when they start taking the quiz. You might want to say, make sure that you answer all of the questions. You can do whatever you'd like. That's not really a major point to this. Go down to the bottom here, push submit, and now you're ready to start making your test. Now here's what we can do. There's all kinds of different questions. Now we're just going to go to the create question for this purpose since you're new to using this. The most common one that you're going to want to use is a multiple choice question. This is your typical, 4 choice or more multiple choice question. So we scroll down, we click on it. Now it takes you to this menu right here. Now you can give it a question title if you would like, or you can just get directly into the question. So you can say, who was the first president of the United States? So there's your question, you type it in there. Now you can go to the bottom and here's some choices that you can look at. Number one, do you want there to be any numbering to the answers? I typically leave it as none. It's up to you what you would like. Answer orientation, that's kind of minor, and I always leave that as is. Allow partial credit. Now in this type of a question, it's multiple choice, so there isn't any partial credit that I can think of. You can also show the answers in a random order. This would make it so that any student who takes the quiz would not have the same one as somebody else. Click it on, click it off, it's up to you completely. Now at the bottom, you can type in your answers. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start typing some random presidents as my choices. So Abraham Lincoln, George Bush. Just going down here a little bit further, let's add in Andrew Jackson. And then our correct answer will be George Washington. Now, what you probably noticed is that right here, this is clicked in. What that's saying is that is the correct answer. Now, obviously, Abraham Lincoln is not the correct answer. So let's say I wanted the correct answer to be D, and that's why I wrote George Washington there. I would now have to click in this box, and now what it's going to do is save this as, or not save it, but put it in as being the correct answer. At the bottom, you're able to type in any feedback that you would like. Now, whenever students take the quiz, at the end of it, you'll have a choice as to whether or not you want them to get feedback. If you would like to explain the answers to them, you can do that. I like to do that for review quizzes, and I think it's a good way to help kids to remediate themselves and make sure they understand the idea. And if they do miss a question, they can come back and look at it. But if it's for a summative assessment, there's no need to give that much feedback, in my opinion, because it really can be very time consuming. But you have one that's going to be for if they got it correct, and then one for incorrect. Type that in if you would like. Then go to the bottom and push submit. Now what you have here is your first question. You can go back in and follow the exact same pattern now and create other types of questions as well. To give you a short explanation of some of these other questions and what I like to use, personally I avoid any of the write-in answers because it forces you to grade it before it'll give you any scores back. That's something that I just try to avoid. You can do sections that are matching where you can get as many choices as you would like, and I've used that for map tests before, and that's a very good choice. You can also do multiple answer ones in which there's check boxes, so you could have 4 choices and 3 of them are correct and they have to choose all of them. That's another thing you can use. True, false, similarly, you'll see how that works whenever you get into it. Create as many questions as you would like. Now here's one other thing that's a minor, just strange thing. I'm not quite sure why it works out this way. The default to the amount of points for each question is 10. You can change it if you go up to question settings and make it so that it defaults it back to 1, which would make much more sense. And I'm not sure why it does that, but there's a lot of choice in here you can play with. But that's the only thing that I'm gonna fix for right now. Push submit. The other thing you can do is, if you just want to do it manually, just click on it, click back, submit, and then it'll turn it into a 1-point question. Now let's say you're all done. You click on OK right here. Now what you have here is sample quizzes highlighted in your test box. because you've now created it. It automatically highlights it, you're ready to go. We're going to click submit now, and it's going to now give you options for the test itself. Now you can first off give it a description, so this is what's going to show up on the link. So we could write finish this quiz by tomorrow. Then going down, open test a new window. We don't need to do that. Make the link available. If you want the students to be able to take the quiz, you need to make it available. You can add an announcement if you would like. You can give them multiple attempts. You can make it a specific number. You could say they only have 3 attempts, or you can just make it unlimited. You can make forced completion, which makes so they have to finish it once they start it. The one thing that's kind of tricky with that is if the computer freezes, it screws things up a little bit. You can give them a timer, and you can say, okay, you only have 10 minutes to complete this quiz. There are some other things you have available here. If you want to make it so they have to have a password to get in, they can do that as well. This section number 4, self-assessment options, is telling them how it's going to show up in your grade book. If you look on the left, you have this grade center right here, and that's telling you how it's going to add it into there. Then down here, the test feedback, this is one you want to pay attention to. What do you want them to see after this test? Do you want them to be able to see their score only? Do you want them to be able to see the answers they submitted, the correct answers? I typically choose all of them if I have feedback. Now sometimes, like I told you before, I don't have feedback for a summative assessment. Lastly, do you want them to get all the questions together, or do you want it to be one at a time? It really is not ultra significant. And then do you want to randomize the questions? So those are the choices you have. Figure out what you would like. Click on submit. And now you'll see it automatically shows up at the bottom. That's the way this always works. And then there's your sample quiz. So when the students click into it now, they will be able to take the quiz. They click on begin. It gives them a couple rules right there. And you can see up top, here's some of the things that we had. The instructions I wrote in the beginning, make sure that you answer all the questions. We set a 10-minute time limit. There's multiple attempts, and there is no forced completion. So we go through, we answer our question. So we'll say George Washington, he's the correct answer. And just to show you what the students get at the end of this. And now it's going to show them this up here. It says click OK to review results, which is going to be in the bottom right hand of this area right here. Click OK. And now you can see what it shows. So it shows them the green check mark because they got the correct answer. Now, had I missed this test or missed this answer, it would give them a little bit different feedback, and it would show up more in a red box there as well. And that's just the other way that they can potentially get their feedback. And I'll just show that to you really quickly so you can get a feeling for how this actually does work. So let's just click right through here. We submitted, go to OK. And now you can see that I have the incorrect answer. So that's how to create a quiz here on Blended Schools and get the feedback immediately for students.